This week on Steel Horse Thunder.
September 2013, we lost our brother Charlie to a moped car accident. Charlie was hit head-on. He was taken instantly. From that point on, we had a good friend come to us, asked us if we would do a memorial type ride for him that year. And so the next spring, we started getting the ride ready, and it's escalated to this.
All right, Adam, I got to tell you, the bike itself, it's a beast when it comes to turning the throttle.
Right.
It wants to go, and I could tell as soon as I took off out of here, I knew immediately this thing wants to go.
Steel Horse is brought to you by Leidendorf Law, with over 60 years experience in motorcycle and automotive injury cases.
Turn on your TV. Lawyer commercials go non-stop touting themselves. A little research will show you that most of them are not trial lawyers, but paid actors who have never been in a courtroom. So what do you want? A paid actor? A lawyer who's never been in a courtroom? Or someone who will handle your case personally with respect, guidance, and over 40 years of trial experience? Your case, your call. Leidendorf Law.
People talk about your one-stop shop. Well, Flatout MotorSports is definitely a one-stop shop.
Maybe you like to hit the streets on two wheels, whether you're a touring guy, whether you're a cruising guy, or maybe you like the sport bikes.
If you'd rather play in the dirt, there's four wheels or there's two wheels.
Or maybe you've gotten to that point where you're ready for an extra wheel. They got the Can-Am Spider and the ever-so-cool Slingshot.
Or maybe you don't like the dirt or the road, then you can get on the water. Take this baby for a ride.
No matter what you need, no matter what brand you like to ride, all the safety gear, helmets, whatever you're looking for, it's all right here under one roof. And with the used motorcycle sales, you can pretty much find any kind of motorcycle you like. Hey man, I got a beautiful Saturday morning. I am here at a place called Fillmore, Indiana. Took me a while to find it, but I found it. And I'm here, man, I got bikes behind me, I've got tractors, I got hot rods. This is kind of a cool thing, man. It's the Charlie Johnson Memorial Ride. And I'm not too familiar with what all is going on here. So this is gonna be a lot of fun. So let's go find out a little bit more about Charlie and about what's going on here. And I want to take time to say thank you to Crambo's for coming out and supporting all of our charity rides this year. You know, Crambo's out in Greencastle, they have just done a fantastic job supporting this show, supporting all the bikers. So Crambo's, thank you so much for what you do. Now, let's go find somebody and find out a little bit more about Charlie Johnson and what this memorial ride's all about. All right, well, Keith, here we are at the Charlie Johnson Memorial Ride. For anybody out there that isn't familiar with this, how did all this get started?
In 2013, September 2013, we lost our brother Charlie to a moped car accident. Charlie was hit head-on. He was taken instantly. From that point on, we had a good friend come to us, asked us if we would do a memorial type ride for him that year. And so the next spring, we started getting the ride ready. And it's escalated to this. I mean, here we are on the 7th ride. Would have been the 8th, but COVID took one out for us. So here we are, 8 years later, we're on the 7th ride. It's turned out to be awesome for everybody.
Yeah, this is really cool. I mean, now I understand each year you guys kind of the money kind of goes different places sometimes.
Yes, we've done for MAD, we've done for Susan G. Coleman, we've done for the Indiana Burn Camp. This year we're riding for the Fillmore Volunteer Fire Department for gear for them. We've rode for the Greencastle Police Department for K9 Dog. So different charities that we do every year. So
it's really cool. And I got to be honest, I had no idea where Fillmore, Indiana was until I got here this morning. Okay, even my GPS said, "Are you sure?" You know, and I'm like, "Yeah. Just go ahead and get me to this address."
It's a little dot on the map.
Yeah, but it's beautiful out here. This is great, and you've got a line of motorcycles here, and I live in a small town. I kind of like a small town. I like when I go into my local restaurants and I can sit down And, you know, I don't have to say a word, you know. Either a Dr. Pepper is going to be there if it's daytime, or there might be a Mick Ultra sitting there in the evening time. Just depends. But they all know. And there's something about small town that is just, it's family.
Yeah, that is very true. I grew up here. I moved out in the 80s, but I come up here every Saturday morning for breakfast over here at Bert and Betty's, you know, every Saturday morning. That's my place I go.
Well, you know, I was driving around figuring out where I was going to park at, and I saw that over there, and I thought, and I have a funny feeling that's probably a fantastic place to eat.
It is fantastic to eat there. It's all home cooked meals, everything. So it's great.
So if you're out on your motorcycle and you're riding and you find yourself in the middle of nowhere, it's called Fillmore, Indiana. Yeah. And you know, it's just a cool place, cool vibe from everybody around here. Now I understand that, you know, the fire department here, you know, these are first responders and stuff, and I know they had a lot to do with when everything happened.
The night that Charlie was taken from us, Charlie had been here for their meeting night. He's been part of this fire department since we was kids, and hate to say it, but they was the first ones on the scene when Charlie was taken from us. It struck a lot of these guys down to the nerve. I mean, a lot of them went home and, like we did, cried.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Now, I noticed somebody came up before we were here, before we were rolling or anything, and somebody came up and handed you something. Are you up to talking about that a little bit?
A childhood friend of ours, or a friend of our parents, he was at the funeral with us, and he passed a few years ago, and his daughter come up and said, "We found this hanging on our dad's garage wall. He had made this in tribute to Charlie, and it was hanging on his wall still up until yesterday." So they finally cleaned the garage out. And
that's really cool.
And they brung this to us this morning.
And what a perfect time for that.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It was great. I told her, I said, "You're wanting to see damn tears this morning, aren't you?" And she goes, "Yeah, I already had them."
So Chrissy has something to say.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say?
Charlie was my uncle, and he knew no stranger. Everybody knew him. But when you'd see him, he would ask, "Do you miss me?" Which everybody does. But that was his thing.
And it's obvious here that everybody misses him still to this day.
Yeah.
We love him and miss him. Man, he was a great guy. He was single. He lived at home, you know, and he had his own home and everything. He was handicapped. But he knew when to show up at your house for dinner.
And there wasn't a woman in Putnam County that he did not ask to marry him. He asked everyone to marry him.
He had boy, if he married them all, he was in trouble. But
well, you know, it's nice, and something about, you know, these memorial rides, we can come, and yes, there's going to be tears that are going to be shed, but there's also going to be laughter, and I think that's the thing we forget sometimes, is yes, tears are important, but so is the laughter, and sometimes it's the laughter that gets us through.
We love hearing the old stories. You know, he used to go to the racetrack every Saturday night, and somebody'd take him, and he was loved down there so much, just like, you know, any place.
Racing season, he was at the moose dancing.
Yep. He
At the moose.
He was at the moose dancing. So yeah, he loved it.
Right on. All right, now I know there's a lot going on here today. I noticed CMA's got a tent out here. I'm looking at some hot rods. I'm looking at some tractors. I didn't know if that was just people that were parking there. Nope. That's what they drove up. They drove up on the tractor, and they're going to walk over to the diner to eat. I wasn't sure.
They invited the Putnam County Antique Tractors Association, draw in more people, get more people. We started the car show 3 years ago, and it's not come on yet, but they're still not supposed to be here until 11 o'clock. So we'll we're working at it. We hope to hell it gets a whole lot bigger.
We do a silent auction too. We bring in a lot of money from that. So sell T-shirts, and the fire department does a breakfast in the morning. So from usually 8 to 11. And so there's a lot that we do, a lot of preparation that goes into it.
Bloodmobile's here.
Yeah, Indiana Bloodmobile.
So the Bloodmobile, that's all part of this
Yep.
as well?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys do. But for a little town, you guys get the word out. I don't know how that happens. You know?
Charlie did not know a stranger.
Yeah.
He knew everybody.
Yeah. Well, that does make a big difference. It makes a huge difference.
If you didn't know him when you walked in the room, you knew him when you left.
That's
And
awesome.
That's the kind of guy he was.
So we're out here. The ride is actually benefiting the Fillmore Fire Department. How'd that come about?
Well, Charlie Johnson, you talked with Keith, it was his brother. And they lived here in Fillmore. Matter of fact, 2 houses from me. I grew up with Charlie. Fantastic individual. Charlie had a disability, so he could never get a driver's license. But he could sure ride a moped. And he'd put thousands and thousands of miles on a moped. He was a honorary Fillmore fireman.
Okay.
You know, had been for probably 25, maybe 30 years. And the third weekend of September, every year we have chicken barbecue. And I think we're getting close to up to 60 years of that now. I think this year might be our 60th. And Charlie always comes. He's never missed one. And he comes and helps us set up, tear down, serve food. And it's always on a Friday and Saturday. Well, Charlie left here wee hours of Saturday night, excuse me, and went take his moped home. And unfortunately, he was hit and killed on his moped. So Charlie's phrase was always, "You miss me." So you'll see that on banners and flyers and everything. You know, we'll never forget Charlie. And obviously we miss him, but, you know, it's just a thing to remember him and have a little fun. And like I say, we fundraiser. If you go through our station, we got plaques up, different places and pictures of Charlie, and always the "You miss me" phrase underneath of them and everything. So it's just a way for the whole community, because Charlie knew everybody. And so, you know, like I say, I don't even know how many mopeds he went through. I don't know how many miles you can possibly put on a moped, but it was way up in the tens of thousands in a year. He would buy a new one every year. And, well, it didn't, weather meant nothing unless it was knee deep of snow or below zero. He would pack on the clothes and he would ride that thing year round. He was a fantastic individual.
That's really cool. And I know you guys were doing breakfast this morning and,
Yeah.
and stuff like that, so you guys are involved as well.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it is neat. I can tell this is very much a family atmosphere around here.
Oh, yeah, we're just, Fillmore's a rural community. You probably noticed coming into town. You know, it's an agricultural community, and the farmers take fantastic care of us and support us deeply. And so in the whole community, the town of Fillmore, the churches, you know, we got a church right beside us. We're using their parking lot and their yard, you know, and there's never any questions asked. You just do it. And if I ask them, make sure it's okay, which we always do ask. They said, you know, why do you come and ask? You know, it's here, use it. And so, you know, but yeah, like I say, we're just an extremely small town, but hey, we just all pull together. And I think I have 23 firemen as of today. And, you know, we don't run an ambulance service, but we have EMTs and first responders, because the ambulance service comes out of the next town west of us. Okay. So we can always get there before they can come to us. So we take care of the emergency situation and do everything we can do to keep them going if it's a real serious thing. And then the paramedics and the ambulance come in, and then it's their show.
Well, I appreciate you coming out and talking with us. I'll let you get out of the sun. It's a little warm today.
Yeah,
so
Indiana weather.
yeah. But thank you so much.
90 degrees and 100% humidity, but you know, that's the way it goes.
That's exactly what it's supposed to be in the summertime here.
Yeah.
So, but thank you so much for what you guys do, and you know, all first responders and stuff. You guys truly are the heroes.
Well, we appreciate it, and thank you so much for coming out. It's, you know, probably thank goodness for GPS, because you're probably wondering where the heck is Fillmore, Indiana at. But,
Exactly.
you know, so appreciate you coming out and taking your time to put on this show, because, you know, Keith and Tina, it's a year-long thing. You know, Keith's wife, she's already planning next year's ride.
Right.
She's made comments to me about different things she wants to do different for next year.
Don't look now. Crambo's isn't just paint. It's your one-stop shop for motorcycle gear, parts, and service. Crambo's, voted the Indy A-List #1 motorcycle shop 2 years running, has expanded with the state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment for tuning your fuel-injected Harley and a new paint facility to make your bike stand out from all the others. Crambo's also has a new retail area complete with leather, chrome, audio, and all your parts and service needs. Crambo's, voted #1 for a reason.
This is a standard lawyer commercial. This is a dramatic shot of me walking down the hallway. This is a stage scene of me talking to clients, even though they're not actual clients. This is the closing shot in my office, where I say my catchphrase, looking professional and confident. Look, all lawyer commercials are the same, but not all lawyers are the same. Ladendorf Law has been involved in the motorcycle community for over 35 years, with many more years to come. Ladendorf Law, like family, because we are.
Well, Debbie, we're here in Fillmore. We've got the ride going on, and you are this week's Ladendorf Law featured woman rider. I noticed you're riding your own bike. Couldn't help but notice it happens to be a Road King Classic, just like what I ride, so I had to talk to you. How long have you been riding this bike?
This bike about 5 years. I've been riding since I was about 12 years old.
So 15 years.
Yeah, that's it. That's a good number. I like that.
So what did you start out on?
I started out on an XR75 Honda. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I started on a 3 horsepower Rupp Sprint little mini bike. That's how I got started when I was a kid, and that's kind of the way it used to be. Now, did you go to any safety courses, or did you just learn old school?
Just old school in my yard. Yep.
And it seems like that's kind of how it always was. Now, I'm a big supporter of the riding classes and stuff. They're fantastic, and what they teach everybody, it's a lot. I always say it's a lot better to learn from them than learn the way I did. It's a lot safer, and you don't get banged up quite as bad.
No, I wouldn't mind taking the course just to get a little bit better, but I don't ride a whole lot, just small little things, so I just enjoy doing it.
So you like doing this kind of stuff here, like going on the charity rides and riding with some friends?
As long as it's not huge. I don't like the huge, a lot of bikes. I like the more personal kind of things, so.
Yeah, well, I've always said, Crambo's here in Greencastle, we're not too far from there, and he does a scavenger hunt every year. And that ride, that's what I love about it, because you go at your own pace and you go with your own friends.
Yes. We try to do that one every year also, so we're just a riding couple, so.
No, that's really cool, man. It's super cool, and I love the fact that you're on the Road King Classic. They don't even make them anymore, so that's how cool we are. So how do you love this bike?
I love this bike. I like the Classic with the leather bags and the no radio and yes. I like just simple. I'm good with that, so.
Yeah, pretty sure in our next life we're going to be riding together, because we're very similar to what we like about a motorcycle, and that's super, super cool. I normally ask, what made you decide to ride, but hell, you've been riding your whole life, so you just decided that as a kid, said that looks fun, and as an adult, you're still a kid.
Yes, I am. Yes, I enjoy it, so I wouldn't want to do anything else.
Good deal. Well, I hope you have a good time on the ride today, and thank you for talking to us and sharing your motorcycle with us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You have been injured in an automobile collision, and suddenly your vocabulary has been expanded to include terms totally unfamiliar to you. We know accidents can be overwhelming to the injured victims and their families. You know you can put your trust in the familiar faces of Ladendorf Law. We take care of you and your family so that you can focus on recovering from your injuries. Ladendorf Law, like family, because we are.
Hey, well, I'm up here at Flatout MotorSports, and I got a chance to ride one of their new Indians, man, and I'm looking so forward to it. This is the Chieftain, so I'm ready to get out here, hop on it, and see what this thing will do. You know, and just at first glance, it's just, I like the matte finish to begin with, so I love just the appearance of it. I love the way it looks. It looks very nice. I mean, there's plenty of motorcycle, but yet it's kind of got that kind of a low profile kind of a thing going with it. It's a nice looking bike. I love the Indians. They have the big giant running boards on them. I know this is a completely stock motorcycle right here, and it's just, to me, it's a good looking bike. To think that this is right off the showroom floor, nothing's been done to it. Yeah, it's a good looking bike. Fits me very well. Now again, I'm just over 6 foot, and it's yeah, that fits pretty darn nice right there. I'm not used to riding with a fairing of any sort. I'm not used to having a windshield or anything, so it always takes me a minute to kind of get used to these, but it just doesn't feel all that top heavy or anything, so. From the get-go, it wants to go. I'll tell you, doesn't take much, man. A little twist on the throttle, and it is ready to go. Crazy throttle response. Absolute crazy. This bike's supposed to be totally stock, and I can say the seat, you know, it's super easy to find the saddle in it. It sets you up tall. But it sets me upright. I don't feel like my back is slouching like I do on a lot of motorcycles. Great braking system. I will say this, it has the suspension's a little stiff. I like it like that. It makes it really fun for cornering. So for me, the way this thing's set up right out of the showroom floor works pretty darn good for me. The bike, the way it's set up, works great for me. Saddle sits you up nice and tall and straight. My back wasn't bothering me. It's a little different at first because you feel like you're sitting pretty tall, but my gosh, I mean, visibility was great, handles great. The number one thing I'd have to say is throttle response. My gosh. You just barely twist it and you're going. It's a lot of fun. And I understand there's different modes you can set on this thing, and I was on the standard, so I can't imagine what it'd be like on a sport mode. But yeah, fantastic balance. Come to a complete stop before you have to put your feet down. Can't ask for anything more than that. All right, Adam, I got to tell you, the bike itself, it's a beast when it comes to turning the throttle. Right. It wants to go, and I could tell as soon as I took off out of here, I knew immediately this thing wants to go.
I liked it. It fit me pretty darn good the way it is, the way it's made. And I made a comment about while I was riding it, I felt like you're sitting up tall enough to where you can see. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
None of this blocks your view or anything like that. So it kind of sat me straight up, which is good for me because I have a tendency to slouch and my back kills me after I ride for a little while.
Right.
This was actually pretty comfortable to ride. Can you tell me a little bit about this one?
Yeah, so as far as comfort goes, you're going to notice that fairing does sit nice and low so you can see over it. And the seat is actually pretty low. So shorter folks like myself, I can still flat foot on this big old bike, which is nice for smaller people like me who want to get something bigger and don't want to be stuck on the 750 Cruiser for the rest of their life. They want something bigger, but a lot of the bigger bikes, they sit up way high, so you're tiptoeing all the time. Problem solved here. The other thing, you mentioned power thing, is it's a 116 cubic inch motor, so it's got plenty of power to go around and then some.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Now myself, the bike I ride, and people that watch the show, they know I'm not much on a radio. I'm not much on a windshield. I don't.
Sure.
I'm one of the old school guys. I just like my handlebars and nothing else in front of me. So I don't understand all the technology that goes into it, but I know there's a lot that goes into this stuff now. I mean, they got. Hell, you can watch Saturday morning cartoons while you're riding. You got TV on these things. I mean, it is pretty amazing. And,
it's got a lot of features. So it's got this huge touchscreen display here. In the display, you can see everything about your bike. Your lean angle, altitude. I mean, same with the other Indians with the screen on it. There's anything you want to know about your bike, it's there. Switch the screen. You got navigation built in on the higher end models. You got your phone access, Bluetooth, all that. You can also change the ride modes. So there's different modes that you can change the throttle response. So if you want, if you want it to get up and move, you put it in sport mode, it's going to move for you. So
is that okay?
Yeah.
Because I did know this was in standard mode or whatever when I was riding it. So you can actually put it into a sport mode, and it's even peppier than what it already was.
Yeah.
Wow. Is that normal on the Chieftain?
Yes.
Is that?
Yep. That comes standard on Chieftain.
Holy cow! I couldn't imagine much more throttle response because, like I said, this thing every time you twist, you're going. It likes to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a super nice riding motorcycle. Now I noticed to me the suspension seemed a little stiffer on this bike. I like that. I have my Road King is set up with anybody that rides my bike, they're like, my God, that's a stiff suspension. It's like, well, I kind of like that because you can get a little more aggressive to me.
Yeah.
You ride it more aggressively when it's stiffer like that.
Right.
And I didn't know if maybe that's kind of why that was set up that way, because it is kind of a hot rod for a big bike.
It is, and it will feel a little bit more nimble because all that weight on this bike is down in the basement. The frame is actually built through the motor, so the lowest point on this bike, as far as weight is concerned, is the motor. So they're able to drop the seat height and all that, making it really nimble and comfortable.
Well, I enjoyed it. I like the bike. I love the way it looks, and definitely like the way it responded to the throttle.
Yeah.
And I just appreciate you letting me come out here to Flat Out and take this thing out.
Of course, man.